Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Flipside. Every Monday I host an episode of either mindset, which is the first Monday of every month, or any topic in real estate, which is every other Monday after that. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Evelyn Santizo. Now, before we get started on the show, I want to share some exciting news with you. I have created an application called Refam, and this is an application, it's a social networking platform that helps you, which is investors, mentors, and professionals in the real estate investing industry, build credibility, become more searchable, and be able to build your communities and have that platform to just grow and expand like you want to. Now back to the show. On the flip side, our guest speakers are real estate investors, and they're here to help you by sharing their expertise. So today we're going to talk about social capital. So if you guys are ready, let's give Evelyn some thumbs up, let's send her some hearts, and let's get her on. Oh, Evelyn, I can't add you in. Are you on a phone? If you're, sorry, you need to be on a phone. If you're not, it doesn't work on a computer. And if you are on your phone, then you need to upgrade your Instagram. So let me know if you're able, if where you're at. If it's, just send me a quick message. Let me know if you need to hop back on or what it is. But while we wait for Evelyn to come on, tell me, what are you guys interested in these days? Are you guys seeing movements happening? I don't know, I can tell you that this year I've been pretty idle on the real estate front of like looking for properties. I've been looking, but just like now I'm looking, if that makes any sense. But I've been actually a lot this year focused on my application. But now, and I mean, I'm still definitely focused on the application, but now I just feel like we are getting ready for, I don't know, I feel like we're getting ready for some amazing opportunities to come. Hey, Mark. Curious actually, Mark, what's your opinion? I don't know, I've gone really into really much more into the real estate things and more focused on actually finding more deals. Okay, Evelyn's back, but just I ended up, finding some more. Evelyn, I can't get you on for some reason. It shows I can't invite you. You know what, guys, I think I'm gonna have to start this over again. I'm just gonna figure out what's going on. Finding some great deals. Yeah, I hear you, Mark. I just actually got a deal last week that was a really good deal. We're gonna be closing on it on Wednesday. And then, so that was like super quick. My what is it called? My week last week was a disaster just trying to get this amazing deal done. And then I have another deal that's closing in December, which is another, like, I don't know, whatever you call it, when you do get an amazing deal, like a slam dunk deal. There you go. So yeah, it's been awesome. But Evelyn, I don't see you on, I mean, I see you on. My problem is I can't invite you, which usually means you're on your computer. So if you can just let me know if you're on your computer, because something is going on. And then I can see Mark said, and we can negotiate hard. Yeah, definitely. This is the time where you can really negotiate deals. And yeah, I don't know, I've been seeing some really good deals daily. I mean, I know, Mark, you've been on a lot more this year. You've been really good with finding good deals. But again, I think I was a little distracted. Let's see. I'm logging on my phone now. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So you just need to be on your phone, Evelyn, and then we'll just get it started. Oh, perfect. I see the message. But yeah, very interesting time, guys. Oh, let me accept it again. Oh, there we go. We got it. Okay. Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good. Sorry, it took me a little while just to get myself in here, but
No worries.
yeah, so excited.
No worries. Thanks for coming on. Before we get started, let's talk about you.
Okay.
Tell us about what's your real estate journey like, what's your entrepreneur journey like, and just give us a little background on yourself before we
Okay.
get started.
Well, I've been in business development for about 20 years, and it has allowed me to connect with various entrepreneurs and keep it into a deeper level every person that I meet. I've done a lot of business development for different businesses, marketing plans, so many different things. And now about 8 years ago, I decided to take on the commercial real estate market. And once I did that, my entire life changed. I'm very innovative, adaptable, and resilient as an entrepreneur. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can
Okay.
definitely hear you.
Okay. All right. And, I just constantly find a way to, do education and leveling up in terms of my self-development, finding a way for new business opportunities and finding a way to connect with others to collaborate.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Hmm.
And so now today's topic is social capital. So what does that even mean? I feel like that might be a new term. So what is social capital? What does that mean? And why should we be interested in that?
Okay, so social capital is the potential to obtain resources, favors, and information through personal connections. Basically, social capital is deriving from, connecting with valued relationships, growing your network, and trust within your own communities. So basically, social capital involves several steps, such as attending industry events. As you know, I attend many of them for that specific reason because my whole entire business is run on social capital, which basically means connections, collaborations, who you know and who you connect with that you can potentially bring on new opportunities and deals, really. As a real estate investor, we're always looking for new opportunities off market because we all know that on the market it's not necessarily always the best. However, there is a few that, once you crunch the numbers, there's a lot of opportunity. However, I find a lot of people are really connected with the social media strategy, and that's not necessarily my strength. However, what I love to do is to go to all these events, connect with as many people as possible, really get to know them on a deeper level, and basically connect on an authentic level. And I find that that's the best way to really, grow your network, grow your connections, and find opportunities that just kind of land in your lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's how we met, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it is true. It's funny. And it's great that you're talking about this because there are so many different ways of networking like that. A lot of people are on social media, and you've decided to keep it in person, and you're very little on social media. I mean, I know you post, but I feel like that, like your biggest thing is you're out there meeting as many people, and to be honest, yeah, you're like to me, I feel like you're a connector. It's like you know so many people, and you'll hear something that someone needs, and you'll like remember. I don't even know how you do it because you know so many people, and you'll just be like, oh, this person is doing that. You guys should connect. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know how you keep track of everyone.
Building a social capital and a social network, one of the biggest things is to engage with others and learning how to speak effectively to people, to derive a real connection, like reading nonverbal cues, looking at the way that they're expressing themselves. What exactly does that person's energy tell you? So connecting to the energy of the other person and being on that same level is always very important. And I find that sometimes, people go to these events and they feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people. And they're just like, oh, no, no, I'm not going in there. There's like way too many people. And what am I going to say? Especially for those who are like new investors or people who are just starting into a new community. And sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit scary in a way, because, not everybody has that ability that you feed off of energy and you just become more and more energized and more, excited as the time goes and the more people that you meet. And that's the way that I am. But,
Mm-hmm.
there's other people that, they can be there for an hour or two and just feel exhausted and need to rest and, need to like refocus and ground themselves. So it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
totally understandable that, a lot of us are trying to find a way to communicate better and how to start a conversation. That's another thing that's always very interesting, and really to show genuine interest in what someone is talking about and what their strategies are, maybe what they're going through. Definitely social capital allows the real estate investor to establish credibility and trust amongst peers and, coworkers, and to find joint ventures, for example. I believe that 100% that with social capital, you're able to, attract your joint venture partners. You're able to attract other partners as well, investors, like, passive investors, people who are just getting started but don't quite know which strategy they want to go into. So I find that sometimes just by sheer connection and talking and really finding the interest of that person and who they are as a person in terms of their own personal everyday, I think making a connection first that is personal is always important, because when I get to know you, I get to know your background. I get to know, are you single? Are you married? Or, like what drives you? What makes you wake up in the morning? Who are you? Who's your authentic self? And who are you showing up as when you go to these events, right? So before you even step foot into any of these events, like my entire business is run this way. So I strategically signed up for as many masterminds and as many networking events as I can, because I find that the more networking events that you connect to, the more people that you find that have different backgrounds, different personalities, and ways of doing business. And guess what? In order to really expand and grow, you have to have what's called a power team. In order to build your power team, social capital is going to help you get there. Why? Because you're going to make those connections hand to hand.
I love that. It's so true. And so, do you have any tips for the viewers? For example, one of the things you were talking about, which I think is so important, you were talking about like those nonverbal cues. So, do you have any tips for the viewers to be able to start improving that, or even bringing awarenesses to that? Like, what do you do to, like, what kind of things you pay attention to?
Well, the first one is introducing myself and trying to find a connection with the person, whether it's as simple as what they're wearing. Like today, I really love that colorful, almost, I think it's Colombian that you're wearing today, right? Like that. It almost looks like you got it like on a trip or something. Like it's really nice. So,
Oh,
you
thank
know,
you.
I find that admiration is always a good way to approach somebody. If you see somebody wearing something nice, like, like compliment the person. Like it's, some people,
It's like
they
they're
appreciate it because
scared, right? To
yeah,
do it?
yeah, exactly. Because some people think like, oh, like, like, wow, I don't usually get compliments. So sometimes it's nice to just compliment someone. If you think someone's looking radiant, if you think someone has a beautiful color on that really complements their skin, let them know. If you know for a fact that, maybe there's a whole crowd of people, but you see somebody in the corner and they kind of look a little like out and not really talking to anybody, I like to approach those people. Usually I find they're just a little shy. They don't really know what to say. They don't really know how to start a conversation. So I find that when I go to them and I'm very genuine, I basically do very active listening about who they are and what their story is about. Sharing personal stories. I find that's always very, very, appealing to most people. When you have like a connection in terms of similar backgrounds, or, like for us, we're both Latin, and, we both grew up with Latin moms, and, all the stories like that. So
Yeah.
having that background kind of helps. And, I've been a big traveler, so I have been able to connect with many different cultures and many different customs and things like that, or different foods. I find sometimes experiences are always something that you need to share when you're trying to approach somebody and grow your social capital. Asking meaningful questions when they tell you about themselves. Ask them a follow-up question, open-ended. For example, if they tell you, oh, I was looking at this building, but I really don't know if it's good for me to start with a duplex or a single family home, or should I just go into land development? Well, that is in your heart's desire. If you really have already done some different strategies, gotten some experience under your belt, and you really feel like you're confident enough to take on something like land development, then you would have to, really have a little bit of experience, maybe doing other things, maybe some flips, maybe some burrs, maybe doing a conversion of a single family into a duplex and so on and so forth. But the strategy really depends on the time that you have spent, developing your craft, developing your team even, because this is what social capital is about, right? Like a team requires different personalities and different specialties, right? So, for example, myself, I know in my team, I'm always the one to go out and network and meet people and bring them back to my team. And when we find the right team member, then that's when we integrate them into our team. Or, for example, opportunities. Sometimes I'm not even looking. I'm just having a really in-depth, fantastic, fabulous time talking to somebody, showing empathy, again, connecting personally. And I find that the opportunity just kind of land in your lap, and you don't even have to go out and look for them. And I find that almost all my opportunities, the very large ones, have come that way.
Yeah, that's very true. And like you're saying, I feel like you've given lots of great value because you're saying, basically like networking just in general is so important because that's probably like the best deals will come from networking a lot of the time because you just get to meet them. But then also by networking and just getting to know them in a personal level, like you're saying, is you get to know them and just even understand like who are they, what makes them tick, and you know, just getting to know them for our future, be like, maybe we can partner up and I know what are your like skills and what you're good at and, how we could work together.
Some of the best masterminds that I've been to are the ones where it's not so much about the strategies necessarily of real estate. They're more about relationship building, about spending time together in a small circle or a knit group, like a mastermind group, and really getting down to emotional level with those people in that circle and getting to know them of who they are, like when they're happy, when they're sad, and kind of being a support system for each other. And really, when you go on these masterminds that are like out of the country, you really get to know people on a different level, especially when you share a room, like
Or
their
like a
habits.
house or something, yeah. Like spending 24/7 with them, you're just like, okay. Like if we
Yeah,
can stand each other here, we can definitely stand each other in a project.
absolutely, because that's exactly how a partnership works. It's basically like being quote unquote married. You're going to go through emotions of highs and lows and sadness and anger and all sorts of different things. You try to avoid as much anger as possible, but it does happen. Like you'll get upset about something that happens in the project. It might not be directly at your partner. It might be just some circumstance that was overwhelming and both of you are suffering that loss and that anger. So it's very important to be able to communicate with your partners and to be able to really get to a point where you'll be able to discuss and really share feelings and be authentic and understanding of each other's feelings as well. Because I think that a lot of people just think that you get into a partnership just because of money and dollars, but the money and dollars come if your relationship with your partner, just like in a marriage, is a happy one.
Completely agree with you, and I've experienced that in like two different ways. One that went wrong, like the shiny diamond syndrome. This deal was an amazing deal, and all I could focus was on the deal. Didn't ignore it because I did feel it. Because they say we always feel when something is wrong, and I knew there was wrong things with the partner. But I thought, like I'm an engineer, I can handle men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I understand renovations more than the general person does because we have a renovation business. So I was giving me these excuses that it's okay that I see these problems because I have this other experience, but no, completely. That was my teaching me of like the partnership, like you said, is so important to actually be able to like that go through the difficulties. And I feel like even in speaking in a different project where things went well, but like you said, you're always gonna go when things get tough, you're gonna get into fights, things will get or arguments or whatever. Like this is not we never got into anything intense or anything, but things got stressful, that was for sure. But it was very interesting because by the end of it, we actually learned our roles even better than what we did at the beginning. Like beginning we had our roles, but by the end we actually had even shifted the way our roles went a bit because we were just like, wow, you were really good at getting this done that I didn't even know you had that skill from before because I don't know, it just never came up where I was like, wow, you should be doing this, and we all actually by the end of it, we actually defined better our roles of like how to even work well together and what like we should or shouldn't do or like where our boundaries really got laid out a lot more after the project was done because you just learn so much about each other. And if you can make it through the bad, because usually every project will have some kind of bad thing happen, but if you can make it through and you're still like good with each other, it's like a great learning experience.
Absolutely. So part of the social capital and joining all the masterminds is that you get tips from these masterminds on how to deal with these uncomfortable situations. But you know what they say? You'll never make money if you're in the comfort zone. You have to get uncomfortable. And part of being uncomfortable is what? Dealing with other people's and their emotions and their personalities. That is, if you learn how to resolve problems, especially personality wise, that is like your $1,000,000 right there, just by learning how to take people's emotions, take people's personality, and realizing, you know what, that person is different than I am. But you know what? They bring something to the table that I do not have. So they're absolutely essential to this project, to this partnership. And the more you realize that the differences actually make you stronger as a team, as a power team, a lot of people think, oh, they have to be exactly the same like me. I don't think so. Because
no, not at all. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely what you're saying. You have to be opposites, but with opposites do come clashes because
yeah,
like ideas will be different, right? And it's like you said, I love that. I love that you've said that. It's almost you are also. I feel like you're alluding to your attitude. It's like working with partnerships also even help you improve your attitude as a person because like you said you're there trying to make sure you're working with people, make sure that you're like if things are going wrong, for example, trying to hold yourself back, let's say, to not make it even worse, especially when things are already already in like flames to say, and it's just like, is this the time to also be just having a fight, or should we just like get to work, get things going? And it's just like learning a lot about yourself, I think.
right. And by having this showing of empathy and sharing personal stories from the get-go, you're able to have that comfort level as well as knowing the reasons why maybe one of your partners might be acting up in a certain way, because maybe there's something personal in their life. Maybe they haven't, they shared a little bit of the story, but not the whole story, because sometimes the real story is really hard to share. It's hard to share when we're going through bad things in our life or things are happening in our personal life that maybe we don't want the whole world to know. But you know what? By being able to connect on that level with your business partners allows you to understand where their actions are coming from, their words, their reactions, and absolutely everything. So for me, social capital, growing your network, expanding and learning about how the multiple benefits of building partnerships, building your network, because sometimes too, especially in this market, people are feeling isolated, or they're feeling like they're the only ones going through certain things, and they feel like they're losing everything, or sometimes you just feel like you're losing your mind and you might be sad, So it's good to have the network to be able to reach out and ask a simple question that might make a huge difference to you. But, just by being able to mutually have exchanges with people and people that are professionals in their craft, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
having lawyers, doctors in your network, um, accountants, all sorts of different people really brings you a great resource and knowledge and opportunity to grow your team, your network. And I call that part of your power team, actually, to be able to tap into the diverse perspective and ideas that other people
Mhm.
have in that are professionals in their industry, right? So
Mhm.
there's so many different things that can help when you're in a peer-to-peer community. And as you know, my number one um, way of doing that is not just by going to all the masterminds, being a part of all the groups and all of the seminars and conferences, but also, I love to throw parties myself, as you know. And part of what we're doing is learning how to collaborate with others. Like, we're all in this space, but I do believe in collaboration, and I think we can all collaborate together. And I think it expands our network and it expands our industry.
Mhm.
So, it's not always about competition. I really do believe it's about, embracing collaboration because that's the way we grow, I find,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. And I just think, yeah, 100% completely agree with you because I think that competition, to be honest, happens in, to say, the working world. It's about like against each other. Something that I feel like coming into this type of environment of entrepreneurship. I mean, yes, there probably are some, let's say, communities that are very competitive in a negative way, but at least in the communities that we're in, it's like
Hmm.
that we've understood the importance of growing together and helping each other out because by helping, for example, by me helping you, it will help me indirectly in some way. We never know, it's like what is the guy from Apple say, like you can't connect the dots. You can only connect the dots when you're looking back in the past. Like you
Yes.
never know, like your everything that you do
Hmm.
can just help you out so much. You don't know how it may help, but it's just like, and I feel like you embody that a lot actually, now that I say that. Because I remember once, remember I was asking you this, I asked you,
Yes.
I was like, what do you need? What are you looking for? Because I wanted to same thing, like I want to know what people are looking for so that like you do the same thing, right? You're
Yes.
just like you keep it in the back of your mind. And what was one of the things you said? You're like, oh my God, I never think about myself. I don't even know, because you're just so much into like seeing what everyone else is doing and how to help them connect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, it's about service, right? And when I provide service and I provide knowledge and care, I find that gives people more of a comfort to work with me and to be able to like and trust me and work with me rather than when you're being competitive with someone, and that's never good. So for me, it's all about collaboration. It's about finding ways to help others, because when you help others, they'll help you in return. You'll pick up the phone, you'll be like, Diana, you know what? I think I need blah blah blah. Like, your husband is a contractor. Can he come and fix my kitchen for me? Do you think you can, get him to come by tomorrow because it's an emergency or whatever? Of course, like, if we know each other well, that's gonna happen, right? So it's
And
amazing
it's like,
how
why are you not
social.
helping your friends when,
Hmm.
like, you have this? It's like, why not support your friends and a person that you don't even know, just because like that, because of the network that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, for me, social capital is all about, collaboration, growing and expanding your network, uh, you know, opportunities that come to your lap even when you're not looking for them, and connections with other professionals that can help you grow your team and make it stronger,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. And another point that I actually wanted to bring back again that you said that I thought was so important, and actually I never clicked it until you said it, was we talk about exactly our power team, and we always talk about, like the lawyer, the realtor, the mortgage broker, but you're right, we've never actually given that value to the community. and the importance of it, because like you said, our community, especially our close-knit friends, they become our support systems at times. They become our advisors at times. Like they do give, like, have many roles. The community can provide many roles depending on where we're at and what's going on. So I just wanted to
Absolutely.
reemphasize that because I was just like, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. Like your power team should be like having a community in there too, actually.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, as you know, we recently created the REI Social Club, right?
Mhm.
So that people can collaborate with us and come to our events and, socialize, get to know each other on a very light note, like more of a social gathering, right? Where I find that, like I said before, even the masterminds I attend, when you're like when you're relaxed, when it's not like a formal event, you're more yourself. And
Mhm.
when you're self, that's when you attract the vibration and energy of other people that are within your energy and within your circle that are meant to be with you.
Mhm.
That's what I find is absolutely crucial for social
Mhm.
capital building. And that is, to really be authentic, to show up as your best self whenever you go to these networking events or social events or even masterminds. In the mastermind, you really have to have a mindset. So maybe we can touch about that, about the
Yeah.
mindset you have when you go into these events, right? Because there's many people who think, oh, I'm so new to, real estate investing. I don't really know what I would say. And how am I going to go up to somebody who's very experienced and speak to them, right? Like, guess what? I find that when new investors approach me, I'm more than happy to help them out, give them some tips, guide them in the right direction, connect them with the right people that they need to connect with. Because not everything is something that I do. I wear a certain hat, but I have partners and friends that have other expertise, and I love to refer, and collaborate. So for me, it's extremely important that when you're starting out in real estate, or even if you're already, doing yourself an amazing job and you have a lot of recognition, in order to keep on growing, because even when you get to that point where you are an expert, I feel that it comes to a point where you kind of become stagnant, you know, and and you've
Mhm.
kind of like you hit a ceiling, and then you need that little extra push just to like help you
Yeah.
go to the next level, right?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
find that by collaborating with others, you're giving yourself that extra push to the next level, right? It's never a bad idea to collaborate with other people because they might be doing something similar, but nothing is exactly the same. And I find that people are attracted based on energy and based on authenticity. And that's the only way that you're going to grow your network.
Mhm. I love that, and it's so true because exactly what you're saying, like, or even going back to the social, like going into social events specifically, where it's like you said, you can be relaxed and you don't have to worry about talking business. Although I feel like not talking business, but I feel like we all love real estate so much that we always will talk about it, but it is very much, I think, in a different sense when you're in a relaxed environment, if it does get to that conversation, because usually it's like that you're so relaxed that you're just like, hey, I'm dealing with this problem, or like I had this situation happen, or you're just talking about things that you may not talk about in a business type of environment, because you may feel like, oh man, I'm in like sell mode, and I need to like sell myself, where it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
you can be relaxed and be like, I'm going through these kind of things and things like that, and
Yeah.
not worry about that, like have to be in like business mode all the time.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that happened to me just the other day. I attended, the Fem Power event that happened recently. And, I was just there to attend and I was just enjoying socializing. And a certain investor friend of mine just came up to me for some advice. Like she just pulled me aside and she wanted to know my opinion on a certain topic. And it was, heart to heart right there in the middle of the social event. And I was just like,
Mhm.
this is what it's about, right? It's
Mhm.
obvious that I have gotten to the point where she values my opinion. She wants to know what I think about it. And I found
Mhm.
that very warm to my heart because that's exactly why I do all of these social capital building, because I know that sooner or later, that same person, or like you said before, it could be anybody on the street. Sometimes people think about the way people are dressed or the way people look or the energy that they're giving off. And I'll tell you something. Sometimes people, they're not as they seem. Like, I have seen people that are like covered in like paint and like looking like a little like upset, and they're the nicest people that you can call on 24 hours a day. And you'll be surprised to know, like, they might be a contractor and own like 5 different properties. And, all of a sudden you have your next client and you don't even know why you spoke to them. You just happen to bump into them at the line in the supermarket. I talk to everybody. I'll tell you, I can talk to anyone, anywhere, like in the elevator, in the store, at Costco, wherever it is. I
Yeah,
always
that's
find a
amazing.
way.
Yeah, I know you are amazing at that. You're always able to talk to anyone, which is like that. It is a great skill to have. And even what you're talking about also how, like newer investors are scared to speak to more experienced investors. And I also completely agree with that because like that, I think for a new investor, it's just more like learn what you can provide and give that makes you feel valuable to the experienced investor. Because like that, normally experienced investors have so much going on that if they can get help and if you have the skills they're looking for, then, then they may want to actually use you. And so it's just like, you never know, like you said, you never know how things can come up, how they can happen. And it's just what's really important is like having the open mind to allow that to come in
Mm-hmm.
and not thinking, for example, like saying like a new investor thinking like, oh, I don't know anything about real estate, so why would anyone want to talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually know because you have skills
Mm-hmm.
and you just think you don't have any because you think like I don't know anything about real estate, but real estate like that, like great example. Your skill is networking and meeting with people and getting to know them and stuff. Does that have anything to do with real estate? No. you know, like that
It
is a
doesn't.
skill that's so
Yeah.
important in real estate and,
Yes.
and anything, to be honest,
Yeah.
but it's so important to have and it has nothing to do with real estate.
Yes. So I'll tell you, my experience started out in business and business development. In business, your connections, your network, the people you know, the people you meet every day, they drive and grow your business exponentially, like within less than a year. Just keep on making those connections. Like, for example, I go to a lot of events that don't even have anything to do with real estate. I go to business events. I go to events that have to do with politics. I go to events that have to do with the city, with the local community. I go to events that are close to my heart, like, for example, the after breast cancer events, and I like to donate towards those causes. And I do it out of the goodness of my heart because I feel like I need to, support those causes, right? So sometimes
Mhm.
supporting the cause while you're doing business attracts other business that you didn't even know was available out there, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I've had those experiences too where I've met someone that is not even related into the real estate side, but they're interested. All of a sudden, they're just like, you start talking about what you do, and then they tell you you're interested in real estate, and you're just like, oh, okay, let's chat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you had like no idea that this like networking event that had to do with medical doctors, for example, for me, I went to an event that had to do with Trillium Hospital and some nonprofit organization. I met many doctors there, and what happened? Turns out that these doctors, they love the idea of investing in real estate. They don't know much about investing in real estate, but guess what? They want to invest passively in my deals now that I've told them about
Exactly.
it
And they don't
because
want anything to do with the real estate. They're just like, make me money. That's all I
exactly,
care about.
exactly. And it's not like I went into that networking event thinking, okay, how many people can I recruit for my passive investing? No, I literally went there because it was an event supporting a cause of nonprofit, and it just so happened the doctors were at the event. And then what happened? The doctors started telling me what they love, what they do, and connecting again, sharing stories. And then all of a sudden they asked me, so what do you do? I wasn't even there to tell them what I did. I was just there to support the cause. And then when I told
Mm-hmm.
them what I did, they're like, "Oh, wow, that's something I don't know anything about. Can you
Uh-huh.
tell me
And I
more?"
think one of your skills that I feel like I've noticed with you and why, like, for example, that situation goes well is because exactly you said you didn't go there to sell. You come like with an open mind of just to chat and get to know. And when you have that mentality of like, I'm not here to sell, I'm not here to like push an agenda on you. I'm just here to get to know you. And as you get to know them, that's when you're just like, oh, I can help you with this, or I can help you with that, or I can connect you with this person. And you start and then that's where, like you said, you serve them. You can serve them, actually serve them well because you've gotten to know them and you know what is the problem or what you get to learn about them. And you feel like, oh, I can help because I have this connection, or we could actually do business together because I do whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, I've gone even to a lot of events with my old industry where I used to be a fashion director and a designer of fashion shows, and I used to be a manager of different spas and general manager for hospitality. Do you know how many connections I've made by going back to my old industry?
I
Tons
can
and tons.
imagine.
I have listed hotels in the value that you wouldn't even imagine, in the millions, because of my hospitality background, because I know the general managers, the people who make the decisions at the hotel level. As a realtor, as a broker, it's a huge connection. But how did I do that?
Mhm.
Just by networking in their community, just by being present, taking part, getting to know everybody, connecting with them, sharing personal stories. And then what happens? They're like, "Oh, you know what? I have this hotel that I want to sell."
Mhm.
I'm just like,
Love that. It's
well,
so true. You don't realize how amazing, how like, and like that, technically, I would say kind of like how easy opportunities come if you're just open to receive them. And like you said, you just get to know them, and all of a sudden something will come up. Because like you said, I do feel the same thing about how you say about energy. It's like finding, like you're connecting for a specific reason. We don't know what it is, but sooner or later you'll find out what it is, be it like that. Like maybe it's just like getting support, could be partnerships, could be connections. Like there's so many reasons that it's like people come together, you meet certain people. It could be a learning lesson for you. Like I was saying, the other one where the partnership went bad, that was specifically my learning lesson. You don't just take any deal just because it looks amazing. It's like really it's important to learn that you want to find people that you connect with well and understand each other well so that if the bad times do come, you will support that because bad times will always happen and is matter all that matters is that can we get through it together and do we have the same in that specific one values that became a huge thing for
oh,
us actually we had
absolutely.
completely opposite values and that was like one of our biggest downfalls. Actually, the values were completely off, and it just like that was one of the biggest things that really kind of killed it for us was that partnership.
So remember when we first met, that one of the first things I do when I start working with people is I send them the disc personality profile. And we actually recently had this amazing virtual event as well with Corey McKinnon, where he does a special, I think it's called predictive index
The
as well.
PI index,
Yes,
yeah.
it's very similar to this disc personality profile. So I find that by doing the disc personality profile with your team members or anybody that you're looking to hire, it's absolutely phenomenal way of learning the values, the way that people
Mhm.
think, who they are really deep inside and how they think and what they value the most. So by
Mhm.
having that in mind, when you're creating your power team, when you're creating your partnerships or even your friendships or um, you know, the people that come into your life, it helps you to get to know them sooner
Mhm.
because
And
nobody's
how to
gonna
communicate with them. That's one of the things I actually loved about the
yes,
PI index, or even the same thing yours, was it
yes,
even helps you how to talk to those kind of people. Because sometimes like that, like for example, I'm so different, let's say to you, and so I'm gonna talk to you in my language, and you're like, what is she talking about? Because you're just like, whatever, like it just doesn't make sense. Where it's like if I'm, for example, like asking you the right questions that will make sense for you. That's something actually I learned with my husband a lot, was that because we're very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very futuristic thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and he's very much in the now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my questions and conversations with him were very futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, what language are you talking to me right now? He's like, why are we talking about 3 years down the road when, his mind is like he's a very in the now. So
Yes.
I learned to have conversations with him, basically in the now conversations. I don't even talk to him about future stuff anymore. And if it is, it's very minimal. But now it's like I just know we talk about now things. We don't talk about future things because for him it just like doesn't make sense in his world, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, you have to be ready at a moment's notice because our world is ever changing and there's so much adversity that happens every day, especially in these markets today. So you have to always kind of be ready to adapt,
Mm-hmm.
ready to like as you said that your husband lives in the present because you have to be able to adapt in order to overcome adversity, and also you have to be having a great power team and a network that you can rely on and help you out when you're feeling those feelings of what to do next and where do I go from here, or am I making the right decision, or maybe you don't know about certain things, right? Like for example, construction. Like, do I really know how to put together a kitchen? Not really. What will I do? I'll have to call somebody that knows exactly what they're doing to ask them, oh,
Mm-hmm.
is this contractor really telling me the right thing? Is this the best way to get this kitchen together? Getting
Mm-hmm.
multiple opinions. And sometimes we always feel safer with the opinion of somebody that we like and trust, right?
Yeah,
So working
100%. We always give them much more value for sure.
Yeah, so working with somebody that is dear to your heart is always important. But in order to get to that, it's a gradual process and it requires a lot of nurturing of the
Mm-hmm.
relationship. You have to be reliable, supportive. You want to keep on staying connected on a regular basis. Don't lose touch, because as soon as you drop out of the face of the planet and you don't talk to that person for a while, kind of like, whatever happened? We had such an amazing connection, and then I never heard from that person again,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So trying to make time, and I find coffee dates really the best form of keeping connected, in terms of contact with people, having a coffee date, having a lunch, going and even if you just meet for a few minutes and just having a discussion over coffee, it's always better. I find that internet like Zoom calls are great, but to me, the interaction face to face feels, I can feel the energy. You feed off each other, you feel more connected, you're able to share more, I find, like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
your personal stories. Because when you're behind the camera, it's like, okay, well, we're almost running out of time. So, maybe we should just like get going and on to our next meeting. But I find with the in-person meetings, you might have them scheduled for an hour, but they usually go a little bit more. Have you found that?
Oh yeah, I feel like you get so distracted in the conversations and like you said, like the stories or the dramas that are happening in our projects and stuff that the time just flies by and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta go. It's already 2 hours passed or something. I
Two
feel like that
hours,
happened to us
three.
last time, right? We spoke for I don't know, like 2, 3 hours or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not just about like the projects that are going on, it's about getting to know each other's personal stories, having different personalities and the way that we are feeling and sharing of those stories and how we overcome that.
Mhm.
It also teaches us, right, how to communicate with people who are different than us, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I love the fact that sometimes like I'll be like, oh, let's go, and then you'll be like, okay, well, let's just let me just go have a little break and then I'll come back, and then all of a sudden you're like, woo, let's go. I'm like, oh my god, is that Diane?
Yeah, I'm definitely like, okay, she wants to party. Give me a few minutes. I'm like, I need to go recharge, get myself going, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready to go, guys. I'm ready to go.
I love that. I love that. But like I was saying, definitely building social capital. it's a process. It requires nurturing. It requires being reliable, supportive, staying connected, being genuine with the people that you're talking to,
Mhm.
learning how to, share personal stories, like I said before, showing empathy, making sure that you are there for them when they're going through something. Because sometimes people become quiet, almost like dead quiet when they're going through something.
Yeah.
And if you have that constant nurturing and staying connected with them, you'll find that if you pick up the phone and talk to them, there's likely a reason why they've been so quiet. And most of the
Yeah. Yeah.
time, yeah, by keeping connected, I find that it allows you to really integrate yourself and be empathetic in their life, and really become that source of contact, like your social network is not just about the who, but it's about the connection that you build with that person, and
Mhm.
the reliability. You can count on them. You can share your stories with them. If you have a question, they might be your resource to get advice, right? Like this morning,
Mhm.
I reached out to somebody and I was like, oh, you know what? Do you know where I can get this and this? Like, it's just because I feel comfortable with them.
Mhm.
Their opinion matters, and what they advise me is taken, like it really registers with me in terms of value. So
Mhm.
I find that by growing your social network, you're always going to build those relationships that are going to come back, and you never know. Sometimes the opportunities that come from just connecting with people on a regular basis, you don't even expect it. Like I said,
Mhm. I think
you
that's
you
usually how it is, no?
absolutely, like I was really shocked recently. Like I just went to an event and I was just like, you know, attending. And then I started talking to somebody. Can you believe I spoke to them for 4 hours straight? Four
Oh, wow.
hours standing in one spot,
Mhm.
getting to know them. It was almost like I knew them my whole entire life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he said the same thing, and I was just like, you know what? It's true. It's almost like we've met before. We have this amazing energy between us, and like I said before, the energy that you put out comes back to you, and that's how you find the right people to work with, because the energy you put out into the universe comes back to you. When you show up and you're being yourself, like authentically, and who you're showing up as is always going to come through. So those
Mhm.
connections are invaluable. And it so turned out that that person became one of my partners.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's great you like that. You never know where they come from, and they're usually in the most unexpected ways, which is kind of the most fun, to be honest.
Oh,
But any
yes.
final words you would love to share with the community and tell the community? Tell.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like I said, building social capital is a gradual process. Building that authentic connection of vulnerability with somebody, sharing relevant personal stories, challenges that you have faced, both personally and in real estate. I do say personal. A lot of people kind of feel a little, I don't know if I want to share personal right away, but you know what? If you find the right person and the right energy, I find that even sharing some small personal stories, it builds on that connection and it
Yeah.
grows over time. So
And you learn
definitely,
about each other, like how to deal with like conflicts or how like they tick so that you're like, oh, okay, like this kind of thing happens, let's be aware of it. And yeah, you just it's a great learning actually. I feel like when you're in the bad, that's actually the best learning that you find of people because you decide like, okay, how can we like turn that around and flip it, or how can I help that person to make sure that doesn't happen? So I feel like the sharing of the stories really
mhm,
helps to just learn their character and how they they do things or why they, like you said, why they are the way they are,
mhm,
and then you know how to be able to communicate and do the things that you need to do.
mhm. And always, validating people's feelings, and getting to the point where sometimes people will react a certain way when they're uncomfortable, and sometimes it's not so nice. But giving people the benefit of the doubt at least once, to
I
know that
agree.
sometimes people are growing, they're going through something, they might be growing, they might not be there yet at the same level as you are in terms of your mindset. So
Hmm.
it's always important to give people a chance, because maybe the first time it felt a little awkward, but maybe they're going through something that day. But when you meet them the second
100%.
time, you see a whole different person. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is different. This is a different person than I saw last time. So, like I said, by being a part of these masterminds, by going to these networking events and getting to know people outside of the formal setting is crucial, because then you get to know that person really well, who they are, who their energy is, how they tick, their personal stories. People are more open to telling you their personal stories when they're in a relaxed environment,
Mm-hmm.
or when they're having fun. Then you get to
Mm-hmm.
know how they express themselves, how they laugh. Do they dance? Like, do they not dance? And even if they don't dance, how do they enjoy themselves? And who are they? Like, what makes them a special person, right? Like the person
Mm-hmm.
that you need to get to know. I find that my business partners and I, we are all different, but it works together. Like I said, your power team has to be wearing different hats and different personalities. So social capital building, connecting with value, and being of service in your relationships and in your network builds trust over time, and then allows you to grow as a real estate investor, and allows you to tap into opportunities, partnerships, different viewpoints, solutions to some of your problems. So many different things are crucial with social capital. So I'm very happy that you invited me today, Diana, because social capital is definitely the way that we should all be helping to reinforce and build our business, growing our network, expanding ourselves, and catapulting to the next level. And like I said,
100%. Mm-hmm.
you never know who you're going to meet. So don't just go in there thinking, oh, I just want to meet this person, this person. Sometimes the person that you least expect could be your next partner.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Yeah. Thanks so much, Evelyn. It was so much fun to chat with you. You gave some really valuable tips and information that I know everyone can take with them. And so if you guys love what you heard from Evelyn, follow her. She's going to be tagged on here so you can see what she's up to, and you can connect with her. And if you loved my shows and you want to stay in track of what shows are coming up next, then follow me also, and you can see what we're up to next. Evelyn, thank you so much. It was so much fun to chat with you. Bye,
Okay.
everyone. Bye,
Bye,
Evelyn.
Diana. Bye, everybody. See you soon.